Hey guys, this is Henry from the Lace Network here, and today I'll be providing a walkthrough of using SoleAIO. So some things we're going to cover today include adding Shopify, Adidas, Foot Locker, and Supreme tasks, adding and testing proxies, using a capture harvester for Shopify, using a cookie harvester for Foot Locker, send delays and mass editing, and logging into user accounts. So before we create some tasks, we gotta set the proxies and create the billing address first. So to create proxies, simply go to the Proxies tab, and then here you'll see a proxy group. Right now we have one, and then you'll see Add Group, Add Proxies, and Test, Clean, and Create buttons down here. So essentially a proxy group, right? Normally for most bots, there's a Shopify monitor group and a task proxy group. So the Shopify monitor proxy group, what it essentially does is that it monitors, it uses the proxies you provide it to monitor the site and tell you when the product drops. And the task proxy group is the one that completes the checkout process for you. Fortunately, Sole combined both of these groups into one. So if you're making a task with a certain proxy group, you don't have to worry about Shopify monitor proxy group, because the proxies you use in one proxy group will be also used to monitor the site. So right now our proxy group is name and a name group. That doesn't really help, so let's change the name. So normally what I do is that I change the name to whatever provider I'm using the proxies from. So for example, if I'm using Lace proxies, I will just change the proxy group to Lace proxies. So then I know all the proxies in this group are from Lace proxies. So if you want to create a new group, right? To create a new group, just click Add Group, and then another group with the name and a name group will pop up. So another proxy provider I use is Fatal Proxies. So I would also enter that there. So maybe for one drop, I want to use Lace proxies. For the other drop, I want to use Fatal Proxies. So then I have group names that allows me to distinguish between what group of proxies I'm using. To add proxies, simply click Add Proxies down here, and simply copy and paste your proxies in here. So if I want to create some proxies, I'm using Fatal Proxies right now. So simply search by one proxy, create proxy, and then we have a proxy right here. And then I will just paste the proxy in this box right here, and then click Add. And then when you see something has popped here, you can't really see it very clear, but you know that your proxy list has been updated, your group has been updated. So then just click out of the box, and then you will go back to the main page. So here we see the proxy's IP, the proxy's port, proxy's username, proxy's password, and the speed. So right now the speed says, NA, right? So how can we know what the speed is? Simply press test all. So all test all does is when you press the button, it tells you the speed of the proxy or if it doesn't work. So press test all. As you can see here, the proxy is not too fast. I'm using Resi's, so they're okay. But right now it's 1179 milliseconds. Normally there's also different colors for different proxies. For Resi proxies, you normally want the color to be like bright yellow. Right now it's orange, which means that it's not that slow, but it's also not that fast. So if there was an error message here for the speed, if the speed said error, then it would just mean that the proxy either wasn't working, or if all the proxies on your list say error for some reason, you probably didn't verify your proxy properly. You didn't verify your IP. So here, I don't have to verify my IP because, as you can see, I have the username and password right here. So because I have the username and password for the IP, there's no need for me to verify. So let's just say we're adding one proxy, and then that's how you would do it. That's setting up proxies in a nutshell. And now we must move to setting up the billing, because without the billing tab, you can't set up the task because you need the billing to set up tasks. So let's fill out the billing. So billing here, you'll see shipping, billing, and your credit card, which is nicely formatted into an actual credit card so you know what to put in. And then here you can choose whether your card's a MasterCard or has checkout limit, which I'll explain later. Again, first let's start off with naming our profile. So we can name it test profile. I don't know if you have if you're a student and you use your parents' cards, you can name your mom's card, your dad's card, your brother's card, whatever. So for this, I'm just gonna name it test profile. And then here, it's pretty straightforward. You just fill out your name, fill out your last name, fill out your address. And then for address 2, that would be if you live in an apartment, so like if you live in 103. And then for city, you could just put city. Some city, and then 00000. And then here you can choose whatever country you live in. So if you live in the US, click US, Belgium, click Belgium. It's pretty straightforward. And then states. For some countries, they have states. Some countries, they don't. So for US, you can select your state, right? But for example, if you live in Belgium, it might say no states available, which means that the devs didn't make specifically did not make any states available. Let's just go for US for now, and then choose random state. For email, pretty straightforward again. Put in your email, and then for phone number, also pretty straightforward. Just put in your phone number. Now, if you want to jig your address, which means if you want to change the address, so then the site does not, it does not know if you're the same person ordering 2 pairs. Sole does not offer this button, as in some bots, where you just click the button and then it automatically jigs the address for you. It's not that difficult to jig the address anyway, so if you want to jig this one, you might just create. You can set this to test profile 1, and then you would make this a new profile. And then here, you would just do whatever here, but you would just change. So you could just make a new test profile, call the other one test profile 2, and then just change the street, or street that's really misspelled, bunch of E's. Or if you live in a house, you can put anything in the address 2. So if you live in a house, right, you can put anything in this address 2 section, because it will just provide an automatic jig your address. Because yeah, you can just do that. Also for a city, you can misspell the city name. You can change your email. You can use a catch-all email, or yeah, you can use any of those things. And then, for example, if your shipping address was different than your billing address, you would just press this plus button over here to fill out your separate billing address. Same procedure as above. If your shipping and billing address are the same, just don't click anything. Just leave it as green plus mark. And you realize that when there's a green plus mark, you can't click first name or last name, which means that the bot assumes that your shipping and billing address are the same. Here, again, you can fill out your credit card number, which is pretty straightforward as well. Right, and then here, expiry date, fill in the month, and then the year. Year is the last 2 digits of the year. Fill in the year, and then here you can fill out the cardholder name. So let's use the same for now. And then CVV is just CVC, right? So you just a couple random digits for the test profile, but like in the real, when you're actually going for a drop, you should for sure fill in the right information. This part is a part I always miss. So for sure, if you're using a Visa, click Visa. If you're using MasterCard, click MasterCard, or whatever card type you have. Sometimes I do forget to set this properly, and then the drop just doesn't go the way I plan. Also, like I was saying before, I will be explaining the checkout limit. So essentially, checkout limit, like the bot has this way of determining how many times you want to check out your site, right? So if for some Shopify site, right, they might not allow one credit card to check out twice or more. So in that case, you just click one checkout site, which means that as soon as one task using this test profile checks out, then another task using the same test profile will not check out. Because if it does check out, both of them check out, then your order might be canceled. So if you're done with that, you can just leave it like this. There's no save button or anything. You just leave it here. And this is also a handy function. If you don't want to, write down your own test profile, just click test profile. It automatically generates a test profile for you, as you can see here. So if we go to tasks, Now we can create tasks because we have our proxies. We also have our billing. So create a task, just add tasks, press add tasks here. And then we'll be starting with creating some Shopify tasks. So for example, if I wanted to go for Jordan 1 drop on Kith, I would just click Kith for the site. And then for the keyword /URL, you can either put a keywords, you can put the URL, or you can actually put the variant or style code there. So if, depending on the drop, you want to use the keyword because you can't use variants, you could just do, again, we're going for Jordan 1s, right? So for positive keywords, which means that you want the keyword, you want the bot to use this keyword to find the product, you would just type in the keyword. So if you want to go for a Jordan 1 drop, you just go Jordan 1, right? And then if we specifically want to go for obsidians, for example, just type obsidians, right? And then imagine you only wanted to go for the adult sizes, not the grade school sizes. Then you would have a negative keyword, which means negative keyword is if the bot sees this keyword, then it just skips over this product. So if you only want to go for if you only want to go for adult sizes, just click -GS. And then in this case, this keyword set essentially just means, we'll be going for Jordan 1 obsidians, but not the GS size. If you want to send a link, you just paste it in there. So if you have kith.com/ some variant code, whatever, you can just put it in there. Or if you have a style code from Adidas, you can just do. This is one of the easy style codes I remember. So you can just insert the style code here, and then the bot will use the style code to try to find a product for you. For now, I'm just going to stick to the keywords because most of the time, if you don't have a link, you're using keywords. So most of the time, again, you want to use links instead of keywords because they're much faster. But keywords, like if you don't have the link or if you can't use variants or style codes, yeah, definitely go for keywords. And then for size, pretty straightforward. You can also pick random size, which is honestly not suggested for Sole because Sole has this issue where if you pick random size and the bot randomizes the size and picks the one that's sold out, you'll get waiting for variant, which you really don't want. It's like one of the most common beginner errors. So one size is like if you're copying a water bottle, there's only one size for a water bottle, so you just pick one size. Smallest just gets the smallest size, largest just gets the largest size. XS, SM, all these sizes for clothing, pretty straightforward. And then for these are the US sizes, the numbers that go up to 16. And then for 40, 41, these sizes, these are for European sizes. And one special thing to note about US sizes. So the US sizes are actually US and UK shared. So they depend on the site you're going for. So for example, if you choose 10.5 and you're going on the EU Shopify site, right? So on the EU Shopify site, if you go for obsidians and 10.5, then the bot will grab you the 10.5 in the UK size. However, if you go for a Shopify site that uses US sizing for shoes, then you'll get 10.5 in the US size. So just make sure that you know what the site, the type of shoe size the site's using, and adapt according to that. So these sizes, you don't normally use these sizes pretty often. Most of the time you would use either European sizes, US sizes, I use the most, and then for clothing, these sizes. I really use random, smallest, largest, or one size. Let's just say, we want to get a size 6 for now. For mode, there's different modes. As you can probably see, there's a bunch of modes. So I'll go over the basic ones, okay? So normal mode is just normal speed. So the bot, there's a normal speed program. So it's just normally how it goes. And then safe mode is similar to a normal mode, but there's more like delays involved if you're interested in that kind of thing. So safe mode, they call it safe mode because it acts more like a human. So the bot tries to act more like a human going on the site, clicking the checkout button, going to checkout, fill in information. And instead of normal mode, we're just going like boom, and then it fills and just copies and pastes it all in the thing, right? Fast mode is just normal mode, but really buffed up, so it's faster than normal mode. And then Discord checkout is the interesting thing. So Discord checkout, if you have a site that has a queue and then it doesn't send people out too quickly, or if you want to, instead of having the bot do the entire checkout process for you, you want to insert your credit card number, then you would just click Discord checkout, right? And then Discord checkout, essentially what it does is that you will attach assuming that you have a webhook attached, which I'll also explain later, to your Sole. So if you have a webhook attached to your Sole, then the Discord checkout, once your bot carts the product, then it'll send you the cart link to your Discord, which then you can manually continue the checkout process. Extension checkout is essentially if you use extension checkout and the bot carts, it's similar to Discord checkout, but instead of using webhook link, it opens up this tab for you in Chrome where you can check out. It's similar to checkout in browser. Switch mode and switch mode fast are fairly new. I'll go over that once the full guide and the update is out. Generate checkout URLs. Essentially, it just does what it says. It generates checkout URLs for you to click and fill out the information yourself. It's similar to extension checkout. For some drops, it's good to use generate checkout URLs and Discord extension. And for other drops that don't have such high bot protection, it's just to use fast mode or normal. So if you're going for undefeated, which has no bot protection, definitely use fast mode because other people using fast mode probably outrun you. Normally, if you're going for a site with high bot protection, I suggest using 25% normal task, 25% safe task, 25% Discord, and then maybe even 25% checkout URL. That's what I normally do for Sole. Sole Dev suggests that it's always good to use different checkout modes, and from what I've seen, people get the most success when they use a variety of different checkout modes. So they don't just stick to one checkout mode; they use a variety of each, depending on the drop. Again, so like if you have a drop with high bot protection, you wouldn't use fast mode. It just wouldn't make sense. You get soft ban automatically. So let's just say we're going with safe mode right now because Kith has high bot protection. And then for options, again, we have a variety of options. And then we have none, force queue, queue bypass. None is just, it's just normal, how normally goes. And then force queue, essentially, it does what it says. So some drops like Kith, right? So if you've ever tried to manual on Kith, when you add the product to cart, then you press checkout, right? It puts you in this queue, right? So force queue essentially forces the queue to be shown because for some sites like Kith, if you try to jump the queue, then your soft bans you because it knows you're a bot. Only bots can jump the queue most of the time, right? So then for Kith, you want to use no force queue. Queue bypass is just what it says. So it uses a bypass method to, exit the queue. For now, we'll be using force queue. Timer, you can set it up if you want. I normally don't set it up. Timer essentially just tells your tasks when to start. So if you click timer, and right now it's 12:04. If I want to start tasks at a certain time, if I want to start, let's just say at 12:05, then I'll just click October 1st. And then here I can set the time to 12:05. So about 12:05, then I can do, it's in 24-hour time. So it would be 12:05. Like that. Yeah, I won't be using a time for this drop normally. And then for test profile, there's many profiles you can pick. So imagine you have your mom's profile if you're a student, right? If you have your mom's profile, you have a cousin's profile, if you have a dad's profile, whatever, right? Or if you have many virtual credit cards, so you have privacy 1, privacy 2, privacy 3, privacy 4, privacy 5, then you can choose whatever profile you want for this task. So that task will only be using that profile to check out. Right now, we're just going to go with the test profile created. For proxy group, again, here is where you can choose whatever proxy you want to use. So if you want to use, let's just say, lace proxies, you would click lace proxies. And for example, if for some reason lace proxies, your data ran out during the drop, then if you know that fatal proxy still has some data left, then you could edit all your tasks to use fatal proxies. So you use fatal proxies. And price cap, essentially, it makes sure that the item you check is lower than the price specified. So, for example, let's just say the Jordan 1 Obsidians were $160, right? So then you could set it to $161. Then anything above $161 will not be checked out, making sure that reducing the chances of you checking out the wrong product. And note that this value here depends on the currency of the website, right? So if your site is in like British pounds, then you would maybe use like whatever British pounds the shoe cost, like 131 or something like that. Or if you're going on a Canadian site, it might be different, might not be USD, might be Canadian dollars, so it might be like 251 because the shoe might cost $250 retail, so you don't want to comp anything higher than 251. And then finally, for login, for some stored accounts, for some drops you need accounts or a checkout. For Kith you don't, but for Bodega and Defeated, for example, you will need to make some login, make some accounts, including a username and a password. So it's suggested for each task you only use one account. Don't use one account for two different tasks. So in this case, we will not be setting it up because Kith does not use checkout accounts, but I will get to that later for sure in the advanced section. So let's create let's create one of these Kith tasks. So here you see the bot tells us what site the task is going for, what product it's going for, what size it's going for, what proxy it's using, what proxy groups it's using, and then what billing address it's using, which is our test profile, and then whether there's a timer. Status idle just means it's not running right now. If I do click start all, as you can see, it'll be launching and waiting for product, find product, which makes sense because this is really not on the site anymore. So here you can see that it's waiting for product, trying to find the product, not finding it, so it's waiting for product again. If I want to stop the task, just press stop all, and then status will say the task has been stopped, which means it has been run before, you just stopped it. And then clear is if you want to get rid of all your tasks after a drop, just click clear. Okay, and then these three buttons here is if you had 5 tasks, for example, and you only wanted to start this task. So then you will just press this green button, and then you will start the task. If you want to stop the task, press the pause button, and then it stops. If, for example, maybe you wanted to use lace proxies instead, you click this little blue button here, which essentially allows you to edit your task. So if you click the blue button, you see that our previous screen pops up again. And if you want to change the proxies to lace proxies, so if you want to use lace proxies for this drop, you would just click lace proxies. And size, if you wanted to maybe size 6 is sold out, you want to go for a size 9 instead, press size 9 in the size section, and then save changes. And then the thing with this is that when you press save changes, this pop-up does not go down. You normally what I do is to click it 3 to 4 times, and then so I make sure that is loaded, and then click outside the box. And as you can see, our proxy group and our size has been changed. So let's go forward now to Adidas tasks. So right now what I would do is again press add tasks, and then for Adidas you will see all these different checkout options. So for Adidas UK, for a site you can pick many Adidas sites. So if you want to cop one day from the United Kingdom site, you just press Adidas UK. If you want to cop from the US, press US, and so forth. Normally we'll be going for Adidas US, so Adidas US. And then the PID, which is essentially just stands for product ID. So here, for example, if you're going for Yeezys, right? And then the black Yeezys that are released a couple months ago have style code FU9007. So then you just stick the style code in there. And then random, again, size, I don't suggest using random. I suggest just picking a specific size to use. Again, as you can see here, on here we have the US sizes. or UK, depending on, again, what site you're trying to cop from. And then here we have the kid sizes for like the shoes too. So like if you want to cop like a toddler version, then they have toddler sizes down here. And finally, they have your typical clothing sizes over here as well. So in this example, we're just going to go for a size 7. And then let's move on over here. So here you have different modes. One is non-splash and splash. Splash just means whether there's a splash page. So if there's a splash page on Adidas, if you've ever been manual before, right, you'll see that when you go on adidas.com/easy, right, then you'll see it says, the drop has been started. We're picking people to access, right? So that page that says the drop is started, we're waiting for picking people right now to access. That's an example of a splash page. And if you were to buy some non-hyped item, right, maybe like Pharrell NMDs, which are hyped, that's like the only exception. But like most non-hyped items are non-splash. So, if you were going for, let's just say, a pair of like NMDs, like normal NMDs, not limited edition, you would just click non-splash. In this case, because we're going for Yeezys, click splash. And then proxy group, again, same thing as before. I'll be using fatal proxies for this one because that's the one I uploaded. And then for CAPTCHA, true or false, it's just saying if you know there's a CAPTCHA on the site. For easy drops, there's a CAPTCHA. For hype drops, most of the time, there will be CAPTCHAs. So, CAPTCHA. And then profile, we have different test profiles. Again, I'll be going with the test profile. If you were to prep for an actual drop, you would have different privacy cards or different addresses even. So you just select whatever address or card you want to use. For advanced options here, they have different options. Normally, I don't select any of these because the Sole devs recently, they have suggested don't use generate account or log into existing account. You just want to have a guest account because the billing address, you already provided all your billing address and card information into the billing tab. And because you're using the correct billing profile, which contains your cards and your address, then the bot just automatically fills it out for you, which means you don't have to use generate account or log into existing account. For checkout options, there's add shipping only or full auto checkout. From what I remember, you only use full auto checkout if you have privacy cards, and use add shipping only if you want. But normally I just go with none and none. And again, you are given a timer option as well. So let's add one of these Adidas tasks. And here now you can see we have a Shopify task, we also have an Adidas task. So then now let's try adding a Supreme task. So for Supreme, there's different categories: jackets, shirts, top sweaters, sweatshirts, etc. And for this category, you would normally be given the category, the keywords, the color by the Sole devs. So before a drop, they will provide all the information for you in a Google Doc. So just refer to that Google Doc if you want to find, if you're not sure what category, keywords, or color to use. So in this case, let's go for sweater, for example. And then this sweater we're going for, let's just say it's called, I don't know, like wool sweater. And then the color, let's just say it's black. So you just put black here. And then the keyword formatting follows the same formatting as the Shopify task. So you will put a comma on the place you want. You will put negative keyword. You don't normally use negative keywords for Supreme though, at least not for Sole. Size, again, I suggest not going for random, going for these suggested, so just choose one. These, again, these are also clothing sizes. Normally they're not used though. If you want to get a Supreme like shoe that's being released, you will use one of these US sizes because Supreme sizes most of the time US. Proxy group, same thing. You just use whatever proxy group you have proxies in or you want to use. Test profile, again, same thing. Restock mode, essentially, if you set restock to false, then after the product sells out, it'll stop trying for restocks. If you set restock to true, then after the product sells out, because Supreme, normally there's Supreme restocks sometime after the drop. You want to turn on the true, so then it'll monitor for drops, like restocks, on your specific item, and then I'll try to call for you when it drops. And then there's also ATC delay, which means add to cart delay and checkout delay. So ATC delay essentially is the delay between you press add to cart and checkout, and then checkout delay is the delay between when you press enter in your information and press checkout. Okay. So ATC again is the delay, so in milliseconds, between you pressing the item to cart and then pressing go to cart. And checkout delay is when you're in the cart after you fill in all your billing and shipping information and your credit card. The delay between that process, so filling in your information and pressing checkout. Because sometimes if you have no ATC or checkout delay, then Supreme is like, oh, you're a bot, so then SoftBank. Yeah, and again, we have timer here. Again, you can use it. Normally, I don't use it. I just start task a minute before the drop, or when the drop starts, I just press start task. And then here you see you can select the amount of tasks you want to make. So for example, you want to make one task, just keep it at 1. If you want to make 4 of the same product, so if you want 4 sweaters that are black, 4 tasks, then you just click 4 and then add task. For now, we'll just create 1. And then again, you can press out of the pop-up to exit. So now we have a Kith task, we have a Adidas US task, we also have a Supreme task. Finally, we also have Foot Locker tasks. So unfortunately, it currently does not support Foot Locker US, only UK. So lucky to those UK people who are watching right now, but not to the US people. So Foot Locker UK, you select the site. There's also other, there's Foot Locker France, and there's also different Italian or like whatever. There's all Hong Kong, EU. So we're just going for UK right for now. And then again, we also have normal checkout, Discord checkout, checkout browser. So checkout browser, again, like usual, you get a pop-up, and then you fill in your billing and shipping information yourself. Discord checkout is the same thing, but instead of pop-up, you get sent a link to the cart using Discord webhook. And then normal is just normal checkout, full auto checkout, so you don't need to do anything. Right now we're going for normal. Proxy group, again, same thing. Probably got used this already. So again, select the proxy group and which proxies you want to use. And then test profile, again, same thing. And then timeout is, again, it's a delay that's used to either between add to cart and pressing checkout, or filling your billing information and then pressing checkout. So that you can also fill in. URL variant, so if you have the URL to the product, you just would fill the URL. If you only have the variant, however, so if you have, I don't know, if you're going more Foot Locker releases Nike, right? So if Nike shoe, the variant was like this, for example, right? Then you just put that in there, and you should be all set. For size, again, you just have clothing sizes, you have UK. See here it says UK because Foot Locker UK, right? So for example, we're going for size 8 UK, then we just do that. Again, timer, set it up or not set it up. It's personal preference in my opinion. And then add task. So now as you can see, we have Kith task, we have Adidas task, Supreme task, and Foot Locker UK task. And then right now, if you press start all to all, it wouldn't really work because as you can see, none of these are actually in stock. They're just random keywords we're using. Also here you can see it says waiting for cookie from Harvester. So this is a special thing about Foot sites because in order to check out, you would need cookies. That's why in the Harvester, we have something called a cookie harvester, which essentially creates cookies for your tasks to use. We'll get to that later on. So now we'll be talking about something called the capture harvester. So as you might remember, for Adidas US, we had this option of selecting CAPTCHA, and here we select true, right? And then we can also see that in Kith, because Kith has high bot protection during hype drops, we know that Kith also normally has CAPTCHAs on. So because they have CAPTCHAs on, we need to create a new harvester. So to create a new harvester, most of the time, you wouldn't left click, you actually right click to see all these different harvester options. Don't let this overwhelm you, it's all good. So normally there's two options for CAPTCHA harvesting. So you have a CAPTCHA harvester with specific proxy and a CAPTCHA harvester with a random proxy. Most of the time you would use specific proxy because random proxies, you don't want, number one, you don't want to use your Resi proxies for a CAPTCHA harvester, because when you watch YouTube, which is a way to get Google, like the site, not think that you're a bot, when you watch YouTube videos on the harvester, which we'll get to later, it'll sap all your Resi data away. So you never want to use your Resi proxies on your CAPTCHA harvester. Nor do you want to use a random proxy, because you want to keep the proxies you use for harvesters consistent. So maybe you have a Gmail and proxy combination that works well. So the Gmail again is needed, because without a Gmail, it's easier for Google to think you're a bot. So if you provide a Gmail to Google in your harvester, then the site will, it has a less chance of thinking you're a bot. So normally you want a email, like a Gmail, and a specific CAPTCHA proxy, like combination. So if you have a CAPTCHA proxy called 1 and a Gmail called a@gmail.com, you only want to use 1 and a@gmail.com together. You never want to use, a1 and Gmail 2@gmail.com together. You only want to use the same combo for each CAPTCHA harvester. So let's just say we're creating a harvester with a specific proxy, right? So we'll just click specific proxy, and here you will be able to fill in the proxy. Right now, I don't have any CAPTCHA proxies on hand, so we're just going to temporarily use this proxy. So after you copy and pasted it, just press create, and then you will see this little box pop up. And you are greeted with this bouncing Sol logo. So this page you can access just by clicking harvest. It'll direct you to this page. So during the actual drop, when one of these tasks over here, right under in red, so one of the statuses saying, when it says waiting for CAPTCHA, then you want to hurry over to this page where you can solve the CAPTCHA as quickly as possible. Or if you are greeted with one click, which means that you don't need to solve the CAPTCHA, then your task will go on. So only if you solve the CAPTCHA will the task be able to proceed to the next step to check out. So first of all, definitely press YouTube. So you gotta add your account here. So here I would add my account. Always use the Gmail you always use. So pick the Gmail you use often. So for me, this is my work email, so I use this a lot. So you want to use the one you use often, because the one you use often has the most activity, which means that Google will think that you're less of a bot because you have more activity, right? And then here, sometimes because you're operating from server, you need to fill in this little anti-bot thing too. And then you know that it works. So here, yeah, you gotta verify your phone sometimes because you're logged in from the server. So let me quickly verify my phone. Give me 1 second. Yep, so you just gotta go to Gmail, tap the number, and then you're verified. And then after you're verified and you're logged in, you should see some of these videos here. So essentially what you just have to do, just click on one of these random videos. So I don't know if you just watch this one. And then you just wait. You don't have to do anything. You don't actually have to watch the video. You just want this video playing in the background so that the site knows that, oh, okay, you're generating more activity on your Gmail account, which is here. So you want to be generating more activity on your Gmail account. So the more activity you have, the less the site will think you're a bot, right? So then you just want to have this in the background. So then you can click back to harvest and wait for the captcha to pop up. Sometimes you can also click this activity button if you're not using YouTube. I don't suggest clicking activity and YouTube at the same time, because sometimes if you do, like something weird pops up. Yeah, see, like if I click activity, so then it's only giving this PewDiePie video. So if you want to keep it at one video, just don't click activity. Yeah, normally I only have YouTube on and not activity and YouTube. So back to harvest, and you can create multiple captcha harvesters. So imagine you have 50 tasks or so you need them captcha harvesters, then you will create multiple captcha harvesters because you have to, right? So then what I like to do is I like to drag my harvester here, have my main task page here, and then if I want to create another one, I'll just click create specific proxy, right? And then enter some other proxy. That's just a placeholder for now. Okay. So if I want to create another one, it will just be here. If you just click new harvester, it'll give you a captcha harvester with no proxy. Sometimes that's definitely not what you want, because your server sometimes might get, servers like to get banned by sites, so you always want to use some form of proxy. More mainly a captcha proxy, because again, captcha proxies, they don't have a data limit to them. You can use them as, you can watch as many videos on them as you want. So right now I have 2 open because maybe I'm setting up 50 tasks and I want to solve one captcha and then click here, solve the other captcha, right? So then that's all there is to captcha harvesters. Again, there's also something called a cookie harvester. So again, like I mentioned previously, for footlocker tasks, you need cookies to check out, right? For each step of the checkout process, your task will consume 1 cookie. If you don't have any cookies, then if you press start all, you'll be greeted by the error that says waiting for a cookie from harvester. So you gotta create some cookies. So to create a cookie, just right click, new harvester, then click cookie harvester. Then something, just wait a second for it to pop up. Yeah, so here, as you can see, we have the cookie harvester. And sometimes Adidas uses cookies. I normally don't generate cookies for Adidas. So, however, if you're using footlocker, cookies are a must, right? So, select the site you want to get cookies from here. So if your task is getting something from Footlocker UK, you want to click Footlocker UK in this drop-down menu. Unfortunately, they're telling me that the site's updating. But normally, if you want cookies, all you have to do is scroll around the page, pretend you're looking at the page, click on random products on the page, and then every time you click on a random product, you'll get a new cookie most of the time. So, for example, if you have Footlocker title here, and then we have shoe here, we have a jacket here, we have a basketball there. So you would just click on the shoe, wait for like a couple seconds, and then click on the back button to go back to the main page, and then you just do that over and over again to get cookies. And one of the questions I frequently get asked is how many cookies you want. If you have the time, make as many cookies as you can, because the cookies don't get thrown away after each drop, so you want as many cookies as possible, so to make sure you don't run out. And that's all there is to cookie harvesters. And if you wanted to have a cookie harvester with specific proxy, you just do the same thing. Cookie harvester with specific proxy, enter the proxy in there, then you should be good. Sometimes most of the time you actually want to use the cookie harvester with specific proxy, because Footlocker, some foot sites, Footlocker especially, they ban server IPs from accessing their site. So if you do have a proxy, you just copy the proxy, go to create cookie harvester with specific proxy, copy in the proxy, press create, and then you're good. same thing as before. Select Foot Locker UK, and then probably will say to me again that the site is updating exactly. But if the site works, then you just generate cookies by pressing random stuff on the screen and then pretending to look at it. Again, most of the time you want to use a specific proxy for cookie harvesters and capture harvesters, because your server IP might get banned. Especially, your server IP might get banned by some sites. Most sites, actually. So, what else do we have to cover? So, we also have to take a look at setting delays and mass editing. So, one important part is mass editing, and this button over here. So, if you want to mass edit all your tasks, for example, if suddenly you have a link to the Kith obsidians, you would just press mass edit. This little thing will pop up, and then if you want to change, for example, if you wanted to change the keywords of every single site, right? So then you would just go, if you want to change to a hoodie, then you just click hoodie, press apply, and you notice that every single product has been changed to hoodie. However, if you only want to change the, let's just say, the Kith task to a new shoe, like a new Jordan 1, then you would just click Kith. And then here, change to whatever the keyword is. Jordan 1, first, class, something like that. And then again, if you press apply, you see that here it has been changed to Jordan 1, first class. And if you want to change this sometimes to a link, again, just do kith.com/whatever variant, just making it up for the moment. And then, so if you have the variant link, then you will change it to this. Press apply again. As you can see here, our link has now been changed. Password, sometimes there might be a password to the site. So for some reason, you access the password somehow. Just put the password in there, and the bot should be able to go through. For delays, similar. So delays are essentially retry delay. Is, for example, if you're trying to find, let's just say, obsidians, Jordan 1 obsidians, for example, right? And then right now it's 9:55, and you know the shoes drop at 10 o'clock. So the bot will obviously see that the Jordan 1 obsidians haven't dropped yet. So reload the page essentially, or try again to find the shoe. So if you provide a delay, 5,000 milliseconds, just means that if it sees if it sees the shoes not on the site, then it will wait for 5 seconds and then reload the page to see if there's if again there's something that appears on the site. So in that case, if it really is 5 minutes before the drop and you know that the product hasn't dropped yet, you will set delays to 8,000, because 8,000 or more, because you don't want your task to get soft banned. You don't want your proxies to get soft banned, which means that, imagine you're a website, right? And then there's some person, you don't know if it's a person or not, but there's some signal that's, the signal's always coming at you, like 5 seconds a signal, and it's from the same person, right? And then it's always exactly 5 seconds, right, per signal. That would be pretty suspicious, right? That's why you don't want to set it at 5,000 when the product hasn't dropped yet. You want to set it to 8,000 so that in case the product drops early, then you can still have a chance of getting it, but you make sure that you don't get soft banned. So yeah, that's all there is to mass editing. So again, you can edit all the tasks, all the tasks to some keyword, or you can choose to edit Kith, Adidas US, Supreme, or Foot Locker UK. So right now we have Kith, Adidas US, Supreme, Foot Locker UK, right? So if you only want to edit the Supreme keyword, just press Supreme, Adidas US, just press Adidas US, and so forth. If you want to only edit selected tasks, so you could do this. So you would click selected tasks. And for example, for some reason I wanted to edit Supreme and Adidas US to this link. So I would control click these. So I will control click. So as you can see here, it's barely highlighted. These 3 tasks are barely highlighted. So what I would do is that because now it says select the tasks, I can just press apply. And as you can see, all 3 of these tasks have the link has now been changed to the Kith link, except for locker because we did not select the for locker. It's not highlighted. And finally, delays again. During the drop, you want to set them to whatever Friday tells you to, which is Friday essentially a bot that helps, like a Discord bot that helps you with delays, fees, that kind of stuff. It's located in the Lace network in our Discord group. So make sure to check that out if you haven't already. And so in the beginning, most of the time, you want to follow the Friday bot's delays, like it tells you what delay to use based on your number of tasks and number of proxies. But before the drop, most of the time you want to go delays for retry and monitor. You want to go 8,000 or more. And again, retry is how long the bot waits until it refreshes the page, and monitor is really similar. Monitor is like how after you refresh a page, right? Like how long it waits to start searching at different products. So all measured in milliseconds, so this is just 8 seconds. That's also just 8 seconds as well. Timer, you can also change the timer if you want. Again, it's similar to changing a timer for a task. So now we'll be going on to the final steps, the more advanced steps, which include setting up a webhook, which can be seen over here, and going to the advanced tab. So for example, if we're in Bodega, right? If we're trying to buy a shoe from Bodega, and then we know that we need a login account. So what you would do is that you would go to the advanced tab, click this drop-down menu beside Add Site, find Bodega, click on it, and then press Add Site. So now here you will see that the site we have, other than Kith, we also have Bodega, and then we have accounts and shipping rates and payment gateway. Payment gateway, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Most thing I would worry about is accounts and shipping rates. So for Shopify sites, sometimes there's different shipping rates. So if you want the bot to pick there's standard shipping and express shipping, right? So if you want the bot to pick standard shipping, then there's some code you can enter in the shipping rates. So you just press this, and then you will enter whatever code it is to handle the shipping rate. So if the shipping was you want standard shipping, then it'll be like some code that specifies standard shipping. You just enter that in there. For accounts though, again, you will press this blue button. You'll press this blue button over here. Right now it says no accounts because we haven't added it yet, but you would add an account. And then here you can see this is our list of accounts, which we don't have it yet. So imagine let's make a test account. So imagine we had an account was a@gmail.com, and then password was ABCDASDF, right? So you just press add, and then it will add the Gmail and a password to the account. And then you can also do b@gmail.com. It has to be real accounts on Bodega. So you could do that, and then again, password might be the same thing. Press add. So now as you can see, we have one account, two accounts. So now when we go back to tasks, for example, so I'm just going to exit this window because we're only going to add two accounts for the time being. And then we go back to tasks, and then we go all the way back to add new task. So let's just say I want to change this Kith site. I want to change this site link to Bodega. So I will just select Bodega in the drop-down menu as usual. Bodega, click, and then as you can see here, now the login has something where you can actually pick what account to use. For Bodega, you don't want to click. You don't want to click don't log in, because if you don't log in, you might not be able to get the pair. So if you want to log in with this email and this account, so the email and password is associated with this account, you just click that. If you want to use b@gmail.com and its respective password, just click b@gmail.com. And then save as usual. finally, I'll be showing you guys how to set up the Discord webhook. So Discord webhook is normally, so if you want to make a Discord webhook, this is a small, short guide on how to do one on Sole. So again, the Discord webhook, what it does is that it sends you the checkout link. It sends you a checkout link to your Discord, in which you can press the link, fill in the information manually, and check out. Sometimes you want to use it, sometimes you don't. So if there's a site with no bot protection, you don't want to use it because by the time you finish filling out your credit card information, it's probably already sold out. But if for easy supply, right? If the queue doesn't let in that many people at a time, just go use Discord checkout if you want. So let's go to our Discord. And then if we want to make a new server, we will just press add a server. And then you would press create a server because you need a separate server for your webhooks. So let's just call the server webhook. And then there's no need to change that, just press create. And then here, as you can probably see, you can, it's not necessary, don't invite anyone to your webhook for sure. And then for test channels, you want to create a new text channel. Call it, I don't know, Sole Carts if you want. So all the links right now, you want all the links to be sent to this text channel. If you want to set a webhook up, press edit channel and webhooks and create webhook. And then call this webhook like Sole, and then Sole Carts, make the channel Sole Carts, which means that all the links you get from the webhook will be sent to Sole Carts. No need to send an image. And then webhook URL, you see, this is the important part. You don't want to mess up in copying this webhook or your webhook won't work. So what you want to do is that now just press copy clipboard automatically for you, press save, and then you can exit this for now. Now what we need to do is go back to Sole, paste in the Discord webhook, as you can see here, Discord webhook, paste in the webhook in here, make the username anything you want. So you can say Sole cooked, for example, and then that will be the title of, that would be like the name of each site, link you get sent. So for example, we're sending to this, right? Press test notification, and this will help you see if your webhook works. So if you click test notification, you can see that here it says Sole cooked, and then SoleAIO test notification. On the real thing, it will say something similar, but instead of SoleAIO test notification, you'll get a picture of the product on the bottom, and on top it will say the title of the product. Then it'll tell you to click on the title so that you can access the cart and fill in your information. So this is all the things you need to know for the basics of working with SoleAIO. I hope you enjoyed this video, although it's pretty long. And if you have any questions, feel free to open a ticket in Nate's network, or you can ask in QA, or you can ask me if you want. Thank you for watching.